The next slide is discipline, and for discipline, I provided a few different artifacts. The first is that one of our strengths has been the creation of something called a Tier 2 crew. We always had the circles on the left represent crews that were existing all year, and then in January we created Tier 2 crews and a Tier 3 crew, which meant that students that had a record of behavioral issues, they had to be in a separate crew that focused just on positive daily point tracking, which is this system here, and I will show a little bit later as well. Anyway, that has been a success on a number of levels, and one other artifact is we have a survey monkey that we give out every 2 weeks, and since we started that system, there was a question about do I meticulously implement PBIS systems, and this is something that relates to my personal SMART goal for my own evaluations, and these have been the highest scores that I've gotten on SurveyMonkey, or that in any category. And so you'll see there's 3s and 4s and a few 2s, but it's trended positively. My goal has been a 3.0 average, 4 being the highest, of course. And so that's a good example of this system working with our students that were misbehaving, that were showing task avoidance and negative attention-seeking behaviors. So that's my artifact for my discipline folder. Along with that, like I said, we track the data that's in the tracker, and the way that we track it is also on a Google Doc that you see is color-coded, so students every day in the afternoon get instant feedback on how they're doing, and this has worked really well since we started it. Culture. Overall, I have a few different artifacts here for culture. One is a photo of our reward ceremony, which we do regularly. And students' pictures are all over the building with the award that they won. This is perfect attendance. We also have a weekly community meeting, which is based on grade level that I lead. And you'll see here, this is just a game that blindfolds. But every single week, students get to have a fun activity with their entire grade level, celebrating academics, collaboration, the character traits that we celebrate. And as well, staff also do the same thing. And this is a picture of an initiative that the staff are doing. And as you can see, they look pretty uninhibited and like they're having fun. And that's what we do every single week. One of our norms of our staff, or one of our values, is to just have fun. So we do that every single week. And then finally, for culture, we have done several community service projects this year, and this is one that we were giving money for blood cancer, and this is just a picture of a student giving the money. And we raised 5 times what we expected to raise, and it was a real good community builder that we celebrated. The next part is I'm going to talk about our need areas. And so to start with, achievement. So this is our assessment data from our interim assessment program. And you see it says round 1, round 2, then there's a plus or minus or delta, and then there's a round 3, and there's the same column in the 5th column. But overall, this is an indicator of our kind of where we're at, where our scholars are at in grade level. In spite of the instruction, the percent that are proficient here for 6th grade language arts is 63. Then round 2 it dropped to 47. Then round 3 it increased to 69%. Or I should say, I'm sorry, there's reading first, then writing, and then there was reading and writing. And there was a little bit of growth in both reading and writing round 3. Overall, though, where they're at is between 40 and 70%, which indicates that we are just mostly partially proficient. And so there's a lot of room for achievement, certainly room for growth. And that's an area that we need to continue focusing on achievement. Secondly, parent involvement. I use this artifact, which is the arrows here point to the number of students per week that are not completing their homework. In spite of a very fair homework policy, in spite of consistent implementation of our homework consequences, 8th grade out of 70 scholars, 25 didn't do at least one homework assignment that they were due. They have to have 100% of their homework in. So this is 25 8th graders didn't do at least one homework assignment, and 18 7th graders out of about 80 didn't do their homework. And that is just frankly disappointing, and I think it does speak to the lack of parent involvement that we get despite our best intentions.